Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Yeah. Hi, welcome to Follow Everton. I'm Yann. This is Mabbsy. And we're going to be discussing, if you can call it, the football match that just happened. Thank you for joining us, and especially thank you to Toffee for joining us. Yeah.
Follow Everton dog. You just want to say hi. So, yeah.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Well, I don't know if we're going to quite clinically dissect that performance, but yeah. How are you, Mabbsy? Is it good to see Everton kick off this monumental last season at Goodison Park? I do appreciate the nod to Seamus Coleman. He's obviously signed an extension to the end of next season, maybe one more, who knows? And the Sligo Rovers, 60 grand in a preseason, and trying to get that camaraderie because he's been the stable influence. How do you feel?
Yeah, not much you can take away from that, is there really? DCL missing the sitter. At the end of the day, we got better into the game, and that was in no part. And again, I mean, no disrespect to Sligo, because at the end of the day, they were really good. At the end of the day, it was filled with not first team regulars. It was like the academy and the new signings, because they've got a massive cup game at the weekend. And I'm not taking anything from them. At the end of the day, they got tired towards the end, and as we slowly got into the game. And I'm not taking anything away from them, but fair play to Sligo today. I can't. I think it's hard, isn't it? It's a friendly. It's a first game. I'm not making excuses. I'm not. But at the end of the day, we changed our whole 11. Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing is, it became a totally different game. So I think the first 11 to me, in hindsight or on reflection, seems like the first 11 was a game of, fitness, come on, lads, yada, yada, yada. And the remaining 11, when you eventually saw, I mean, we've signed Ndai and Irogbunam, and, there's hope that we're going to see some young players, but we've got Harrison back and Beto, and they brought DCL off because he seemed a bit sterile, and there's rumours that he seems to be wanting to angle a move away. So we gave these, and I think the real, you can say, was it that fitness won out, or was it the fact that we brought on 11 new players at half time?
At the end of the day, you look at you do look at the lad that were brought on at the second. They wanted it more, they did, but they had more to prove, didn't they, to Sean Dyson, what the first 11 is. And it's hard to take anything away, or anything good or anything bad, because it was purely about fitness. However, we should have controlled the game more. At the end of the day, they're professionals, and again, I don't know what Sligo are. I don't know if I don't think they are professional. They may be semi-professional. Again, I don't want to discredit Sligo in any shape or form, or
no. They schooled for 3/4 of that game. They schooled us, in my opinion, on the fundamentals of football. We weren't pressing. Okay, it's a friendly, and you don't want to take the piss. Absolutely not. But seeing that, the fact that we weren't dominating, the fact that we were getting riled up. Garner Gay got into a few, I don't know what you want to call them, scuffles, brouhahas. He just took it very seriously, and there were a few moments when you're thinking, hang on, lads. And I don't know if it was about being shown up and the fact that we went 2 goals down, but the fact that we're missing simple goals. That Mope hit the post and went wide, and DCL did the same thing. But I mean, just out of curiosity, I don't know if you feel this way, and I know it's very early in the season, but do you think there were any players there that really didn't cut the mustard? Because, just got to say hi to a few people. Bobby just said hi. TJ said, hoping he's never seen some of them players play for us in the league. So on that note, evening, Mr. Toffees. I was wondering if, maybe there were positives, as, Chimiti's flicks and Beto's, I don't know if it was the headless chickenism that he's been accused of before, but Ndai and Irabunam were driving forward. Positives. Harrison actually had some end product in beating a man, but what's the positive if it's against Irish?
Sligo.
Yeah. So, who do you think? Do you think there might be some players there that you go, they're not going to cut the mustard with? I'd like to see them sold.
Come on, Yann. It's way too early for any of that. Surely,
Is it really though? Because
Yeah,
you like to
hang
get
on.
on a.
Right. Okay. So let's be straight. We quite literally came back. I think it was last Monday.
It's true.
The end of the day, it's our first game back. Yeah, and it was a game. It was for fitness. It was never going to be. I know we're all disappointed. We should have beat. We should have scored. You remember that game in Austria, like someone random. We beat them like 24-0 or something. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. But no, come on, have a heart. Is it really about that? Because okay, one thing I would want to say is I'm surprised it wasn't like 5-2. You'd think you'd expect something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying going to beat them 23-0 though. That's just ridiculous. But that was just an absolute crazy game. But at the end of the day, we should have outclassed them, regardless of. I know, just said it's a conditioning match, and it shouldn't be. But at the end of the day, we have paying supporters to come over from all parts of Ireland, all parts of England, from the UK. I mean, people have had absolute treacherous journeys to get here today due to that outage at Microsoft. So, I think there's been
Not necessarily Microsoft. It was Crowdfire and their endpoint security software.
okay. We
Sorry.
don't need that level of geekiness, to be fair, mate. We just
But I
need to
did
know
just
it
say
was an
one thing I
outage.
was very disappointed about is I was watching it on the Everton website, and I did send in an email during the second half when they were talking about, get your comments in, because they'd read some out, and I did say you've just gone through a procedure, in case people can't tell or don't know, but Mabbsy's just had an eye procedure and his eyes he'd lost his sight for a little bit or something along those
It
lines.
was just blurry. It wasn't. Didn't
Oh,
lose
there
my
we
sight.
go. Right, so I emailed them in, and as soon as I emailed them in, I heard some chuckling about 30 seconds, a minute later in the background, but it didn't get read out. But just for the benefit, it was, could you give a shout out to Mabbsy, who's recently had an eye procedure and just got his eyesight back in time to watch the match?
Yeah. Anyway, just wow. Yeah. So
What did you guys? Thanks for joining us in the comments, by the way. What did you think? Do you think it's purely just a training exercise and a little nod and part of the preseason camaraderie warm up, or do you think there's anything serious to take from that that's concerning?
do you mean the annual pit up?
Look, I have to be somehow diplomatic about it. TJ's just said he hopes it's Holgate, Keane, and Mopey that move on before the window shuts. I mean, I do think Holgate, although he scored the first goal, yes, and it was a lump forward, and it was the kind of goal that when you've got that experience and you're caught out and their defenders are like, oh, then you you run forward. Sometimes they're not always going to know. Oh, pick up that defender who, because I've got my attacker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was to blame for a couple of putting under pressure and hairy moments.
I just, I can't say. At the end of the day, I still think we should be more dominant. And again, towards the end we were, but that wasn't due to anything to Sligo. That was just due down to the athleticism that's Everton. At the end of the day, absolute. The facilities that we have, and that should have happened really. And Sligo were fantastic. I was like, you know what, it's reminiscent of England to watch today. Everton, reminiscent
Oh
of
yeah,
the England.
because
It is.
because because Beto and Shamiti and Ndai were just so reminiscent of Kane, Saka, Foden, and or Bellingham, and
No, it's just a level of shitness.
Well, Paul's just said that he's missed the first half, thank God. Yeah, you didn't miss much, although you did miss 11 completely different players. The new signings did look good, yeah. And they look like they're sort of hungry, got something to prove. And I hope it's not an instance of seeing them languish on the sidelines for 4 months doing bugger all but 5-minute, bit parts in a game where we're
Cameos.
2 goals down. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But Paul said he's going to wait till the Coventry game because I do think that's fair. They've been a much more competitive team, and then sometimes it could be the case that you play to your opponents. So
Yeah, I
mm,
mean, at the end of the day, let's not be again not making excuses, but at the end of the day, like this is Sligo's cup final in a way. You know, playing with the big boys, and again, and again that again, I mean, no disrespect to Sligo in the slightest. Um, but I've just got to find excuses, really, to be honest with you, Sligo. And I don't take anything away from you. You've got a
no.
big game coming up on Sunday, and the best of luck of that because you absolutely deserve to win that one.
So is there anything else on your mind, Mister Mabbs?
Yeah, well, we all know the news broke this morning. Um,
It
we
broke.
we we're
Oh,
going
right.
we're going to venture onto that. Yeah,
Yes, we pulled a sneaky on you. You came here expecting
that's
Sligo
Sligo.
Rovers, Everton. Um, Sorry about this, but yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
so in case anyone's living on planet Zog or something, I don't know. Um, obviously the takeovers collapsed yet again, with reasons citing due to oh you had it ready, shock horror. Um, so yeah, yeah, it's collapsed due to 777 complications. 7-7 complications, and but yeah, so that's really disappointing because I think he was good. It was going to be good for us, but the appetite's
Un-
not there.
Unfortunately, we do not have the personal experience on our team um, at present to really intuit and understand, have an intuitive understanding of the intricacies of what's been going on with the finances. We can sort of piece together bits here and there, but what the stumbling block, what may have been reported in the news, which, to be honest, I always try when these things happen, I try to wait 24, 48 hours to see what happens because you never know what gets reported, right? Um, but I don't know. Do you know why it's been how it's what was the
So, as I say, I think apparently there's complications with the 7-7 partners ACAP. We owe 200 million to them now. I don't
that
understand.
American company that deal with like insurance on loans or something?
Yeah, reassurance and ACAP's a big sport investor, and the from what again disclaimer, I'm not saying they're dodgy at all, but they're dodgy. Let's be honest. Um, 7-7. What they are? Let's see. They're being accused of
I
fraud.
don't mean to be funny, he says, proceeding to be yeah, never mind.
Let's be brutally honest. There's accusations of fraud going around, money laundering and all sorts of nastiness. So I just don't understand. In my eyes, is obviously he knew about that before he entered negotiations. Um, so who knows what's gonna happen? Hopefully, George Downing and AJ Bell might. I know they've been paid off by him. Would hopefully they may be still interested in acquiring us. It's just a case of watch this space, really, isn't it? Because it's quite depressing that yeah, another takeover has gone. Frank Friedkin seemed quite a good owner to have. The time with Roma getting. We could have got players and potential swaps and deals and all
What
sorts of what
what do
all
you think
could
this
do.
what do you think this means for the I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know whether I'm just fumbling in the dark here, but for
Hmm.
the club to have organised a friendly against Roma, to me, suggests that people were under the impression that it was progressing quite well, and it was at least at some level of heading towards completion,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know?
it's still gonna, at the moment, we still owe him 200 million. So let's not beat around the bush there. So he's still involved in that side. Um, so I think everyone was really confident about this going through. But I just don't get it because the 777 issue wasn't there. wasn't a mystery, and I don't understand why he just didn't pay them off and to say, "I'm in 400 grand or whatever, 400 million hot to the, you know what I mean? Everything's like 400 million hot to me." I don't know what's going on, and it just seems odd that surely they knew about the 7-7 A cap deal, which we all did. So to do the due diligence saying we're not going ahead because of 7-7-7 and the 200 million outstanding is it seems odd in a way.
It feels very much like we're back at square one with you know, and there's a black hole that money is disappearing into. Like, where is it going? What's going on with it?
Well, yeah, at the end of the day, there's no, obviously there's no worries about going into administration. That's just ridiculous. People saying that we're financially on a sound ground at this present moment. It's not affecting the transfers apparently, from what Alan Myers and Julia Bold have been tweeting. And it's more of the long term. The stadium has now been funded, so again, that's not going to be an issue. Disappointment, absolutely. I don't think it's the end of the road. I think, you know, there was 4 or 5 people wanting to buy us in 2 months ago, or a month or 2 months ago. So, what's the difference now? You
I
know,
don't know. If anything, it should hopefully be more appealing. The fact that we have a completed, you know, or the stadium is near a completion, and we have the secured finances and things, you know, and we don't have the threat of, well, I point, who knows? Yeah, let's just move on from that.
yeah, it's a bitter pill to swallow. You know, I think everyone had the heart set that we were finally getting a decent owner, finally getting rid of Mashiri. You know, putting the whole Kenwright and Mashiri pass behind us, and we see that we're now back at square bloody one again, and that's the
Yeah,
most disheartening thing about it. I
I
think
mean,
it's just, it's just a typical Everton thing. Can we just have one day, please, Everton, where we're just not reading the news or updating the news or surfing the internet? What one day? Just all I ask is for one fucking day where we're not worried about bloody Everton Football Club. Let's get back to normal, for fuck's sake.
well, yeah, I mean, it seems that, I mean, people are. There is absolutely no way that it makes any business sense to sell the stadium. Sorry, I've just seen a comment there. But who is this? Who does the stadium belong to at the moment?
But
Is
it's our stadium. It's owned in a SPV, Special Vehicle company, which is fully owned by Mashiri and Everton. And
yes,
yeah, it's just
it's
all
like a
the
parking company, or yeah,
yeah, absolutely. But as I say, it's under it's just in case stuff happens. But at the moment, you know, it's under a mortgage. So like everyone, when you buy a house, it's just a mortgage. It's simple. You've got a $600,000 million stadium, oh sorry,
hmm.
£1 million stadium with 400 grand secured on it. We still had 200 million equity. You know, it's going to go to completion, and we're going to move in, and
Paul's, yeah, I mean, Paul's quite right. It's a similar thing, and hopefully, I mean, a lot of the time you just get scaremongering for clicks and advertising and to generate bloody exposure and nonsense
yeah,
and all this scare. It's just speculation. People don't have anything to say, but they feel like that they have a
mm.
voice, therefore they need to be adding to the discussion,
And you get the
which is
dickheads in the
essentially what
media.
we're doing now in the whole, you know, streaming.
No, we're not. But we're talking facts. We're talking with what's happening. We're not
Yeah,
speculating or scaremongering people. I think there's a lot of like media out there, like Paul Joyce, like Everton back in financial trouble. We're not. At the end of the
but
day,
Paul's saying it was looking good for a few weeks. And
yeah,
he's
it was
right, it
looking good.
was
It was, and
too
now
good.
it doesn't.
Too good.
That's why we as Everton should never get our hopes up, because we don't deserve it. Apparently.
Right. So
Hang on. Is that the S, Paul Klein?
no, I don't know.
No.
Um
Okay.
I'm being educated. Well, thank you very much that we every day's a school day.
What Ryan said, expect to lose, so he's watching. The gaffer's watching, so that's good. All right,
Yeah.
Gaffer.
If you have hired him for your event at the moment and you're watching us and seeing that he's commenting,
Yeah, he's probably on his way somewhere. So
yeah.
yeah,
But that yeah, as Peter said before, I was going to say, why did this happen? If it seemed to go very far along, isn't it the kind of thing that you'd have like a going concern, or
yeah, but it hasn't gone. This is what people don't get. It didn't go anywhere. This went to a preliminary discussion. They became a debtor. They paid off and settled the debts of MSP and the likes, and then they did the
is
due
that because it goes?
diligence.
Yeah, but
So,
it's a big price to pay just to get access to somebody's
well, it's
finances.
not though. It's not because at the end of the day, it's just to he's not stupid. He sent us the money. Isn't a gift, is it? Let's face it. Yeah, it's just basically it's security. That basically he saw that an issue where MSP weren't prepared to lend the money anymore, so he's
That's a
got
lot
them
of
on the
love.
picture.
That's a lot of love to pay as a security,
Or
and to get.
it's
I know he's
a
going to get
business
it back.
idea. It's a business property. It's an investment, mate. It's not a lot of love. It's probably a cold hard business decision. And you know what?
Yeah,
There's
I know.
something.
It's very alien. That it's still very alien to me. The concept that somebody has 200 million to throw around to cover a debt to access this and go, oh well, pay me back
Mm,
later. Lols.
yeah, absolutely. So we are obviously in that debt. Um,
Sorry.
no, it's
Um,
fine.
Yeah, if we are lucky, and if our very lovely audience, please do continue to get your comments in, like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and push Ryan beyond the realms of ecstasy to see that subscriber number pop up little bit by little bit
So
because
it was
he's
3,000. We're aiming for 3,000.
yep. So yeah, we do appreciate that. Throw that in because if we can keep your attention for a little bit longer, we may well be joined by Chris.
Hopefully, and then you can not listen to my dulcet tones and my
Oh dear.
opinions.
Evan, thanks very much for joining us. You are did you go to the game? Did you watch it? Or do you know much about
Evan, I think
all
absolutely
hour? Oh no,
essentially,
he said hour. Anyway, he
yeah,
said he hopes Everton fans, thank you for scaring the bejesus out of us. Know that
yeah,
only one starting Rovers player played. Mainly all are under. Oh yeah, they
absolutely,
said there was something like no under restriction, so it might have been the under
yeah,
20s or 21s or something like that. Yeah.
absolutely, Evan, and fair play to yourselves, and absolutely, you gave us a game, and well done.
You
So
pulled
I've
our
got
pants down and spanked
yeah,
us
totally.
thoroughly. Yeah.
I've got absolutely much respect for you, and again, as I say this, I really hope that you do very well in your cup game on Sunday. You get a good turnout at the old
Oh,
racecourse.
it could be. Sorry, just to jumping all over the place while we're
Yeah,
segueing between two very disparate topics. Um, I think it's possible to do something. Peter said it thinks it's to do with the unanswered questions of where did 777's money come from? Is there some sort of controversy? Mr. Toffees said that that's what he's been reading. Paul added he's expecting Usmanov's yacht to turn up outside the new stadium. I mean, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. You never know what goes on those yachts.
it's
Let's
not
leave
far.
that.
If it was in UK waters, it would probably, let's face it, be bloody what seas.
Anyway, let's not
Because business
get
is a
too
sanctioned
let's not get
individual.
too into the dangerous territory there.
No, he's not a
But
dangerous territory. He's a sanctioned individual, so his yacht wouldn't get anywhere near the Mersey. It'd be
okay,
seized by the UK government.
Cole seems to think that someone's waiting for the stadium to be completed, then to step up and buy it. I mean, yeah, it's a much more attractive thing. But then you obviously, if that massively boosts the revenue immediately, you have like you have to pay for
Yeah, so it
the
increases the value of the club.
yeah. So presumably people want to get in before then. So maybe that's the mad scrabble.
Yeah. Well, you know what? As I say, before obviously there was load of interest, so hopefully they're still on the scene, and hopefully
A
it's some
missing
Saudi prince or something.
look. At the moment, Everton, in theory, are an appealing investment.
We should be.
To know now that we're PSR compliant or balanced, or we're not in any urgent need to offload assets, which then weakens our market position. then it's just fingers crossed that the competition this year, just because last year, what was it? The 3 teams came up and went down anyway. Who knows? Maybe we need to buy Sligo Rovers, because at least we, and then amalgamate their squad, because we'll at least improve.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, fair play. Any Sligo fans watching this, the bitter Reds.
Yeah, Peter Duggan's got a comment. I do think it's got something to do with the money 7-7 used to fund the wages last season, and that's what people mean about some missing pieces of paper. Oh God. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe people don't. Maybe it's a
So
case of
maybe
wanting to be very
that's
much not involved in anything
yeah.
that can.
Maybe in a few years' time we'll get a bloody another points deduction for some dodgy dealers that 7-7 did.
No, you can't be. We can't be held responsible. There is no way that a business transaction that isn't that we are a passive, or do not have, mens rea, therefore cannot be fucking penalised in a sporting context. Don't.
I know we'll talk about the Premier League, aren't we? Let's be honest. They don't like us as it is. So, are you just living in this small hope? I don't know, Yann.
I'm living in a land of common sense.
No, you're just living in this nutshell that you think you're living in this cocoon that you think everything's all pretty and nice, and the Premier League aren't out to get us, and Richard Masters isn't trying to fuck us over one more time.
No, but look, I mean, it is. On the one hand, you can be really negative about that game and about the situation and say, oh, it's the doom and gloom and the black clouds that hang over us. We're destined to always face struggles unnecessarily. We never get a break. We are an unlucky club. And then at half time, you go in, well, it could have been 2-2. It could have been 2-0. It could have been 0-0, but it wasn't. We were 2-0 down. But equally, we didn't come across as particularly professional. We weren't a well-oiled machine. I don't know. So at full time, you're going, okay, 3-3, fitness, first game of the preseason. But equally, I want to see a 3-3 where it's like, oh, we let that be 3-3 rather than we were lucky to struggle that we didn't see. Do you know?
Yeah, totally. And this is what I said at the start. We should have been more clinical. We should have scored. We should. And again, I mean, absolutely. Oh, it is going to sound disrespectful, but I don't mean it. But we should have been two or three goals clear in that game. Where the full-time professional.
I ask you the question: what would the score have been at half time if instead of us playing Sligo, it was Aston Villa?
They would have been a lot more clinical, and they would have won it. Absolutely.
West Ham, Brighton,
again, yeah, just Everton, isn't it? It's
Brentford.
Everton, aren't we? We don't do things easy. And when are you going to learn this? When are you going to learn?
I mean, it's not a lesson I want us to have to learn. No, thank you.
We've got to, and it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
sadly.
But some positives.
What?
In that Chimiti had some nice movement, and it seemed really strange that he couldn't score. So, in any other situation, you go like, that's just ridiculous, poor bad luck. But Roman Dixon.
Yeah.
Roman Dixon, any positives to say? I mean, he's bloody fast.
Potentially, yeah. I'll give him that. But again, he's a kid, and let's be honest, it's not like it. I'm just not. I'm uninspired, Jan. Uninspired at the end of the day, and a bit annoyed. I know I keep bleating on about it's been conditioning, and I think we could have been a lot more clinical, and we just weren't. And again, changing the side at 11, we don't know what we're getting. What team? On the football stage, has been riding his luck for the past 2 seasons. I fully expect his luck to run out. The new thing, yeah, fair enough. But Peter, it's too early to say that, mate. It really is, and probably you're right. But I've got to be positive.
I mean, that is a point. Stu said Roman Dixon looked decent, but he wasn't playing against Premier League players.
Yeah.
I just hope he's got that sort of hunger, the fire inside him. I mean, looking back now with a certain perspective, you see these players, these dynamic bloody teenagers that come on, and you just like these older
Yeah.
guys who just whose reactions are still bloody good. They're professional sportsmen, but they've just been edged away by just year after year.
Yeah.
And
Right.
suddenly,
Jan, sorry to interrupt here. Just got a comment from Sean Dyche. The lads are putting a real shift in this week. I can't fault them because there's been a lot of work done, particularly yesterday. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, what?
sorry, I thought you were about to say something like there's going to be some big news or.
No. So this is the Sean Dyche's comments. The lads have put a real shift in this week, and I can't fault them because there's been a lot of work done, particularly yesterday. I mean, and what's good to that fans who travelled to that game? What's he talking about? I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah. Here we go. So the lads have put a shift in this week. I don't know what that's got to do with the game.
I mean, but like I said, no disrespect to them, although they, like, sorry, Evans just commented here. It was that they're in a different sort of season, time frame.
Yeah.
So maybe with Rusty, he's wished us luck, right? Yeah, but you go there and you think, well, I want to see some football. I want to see positive signings. I want to see a showcase of the new signings, like it used to be. It's a comfortable runaround where they've given the youngsters and they all swap shirts and it's friendly. But it seemed like a scrabbly sort of cup game. Like you
Yeah.
used to play the League Cup and you go, well, we don't mind if we get knocked out. We're fielding a second team, but we think we're going to win.
Mm. No, but I think I don't think this is an arrogant point of view, and like it's an arrogant point of view for a team that gets regularly 2,500 people. We should be well winning that game out of sight. We should, but again, there is the point that everyone has raised that they're in a different cycle to their season. We just started. You know what? Let's just put it down as a conditioning game and move on.
Okay. I know. No, I know. And to be fair, Sligo, their keeper was good, and they played like composed football. They managed to, decide not to panic and turn around constantly. They made space. They held the ball. That was it, Jonathan or something, the bloody beast that they've got playing for him, who was a monster. Like, yeah, he controlled it when he had the ball, and I mean, some of their youngsters, it makes you think like, okay, maybe we've got another Coleman there, but. Yeah, fair play to them. They deserved their goals.
Yeah, of course they did, and I'm not going to take anything away from them because at the end of the day, they deserve that. They deserve to win. So no, fair play, Sligo. Fair play.
Yeah. So I mean, it does become an issue when there has been consistent talk about Dyche's suitability, and considering you just had that comment up there, but well, funnily enough, Stu. But I mean, considering we're talking sort of tactically about how we go forward here, and you touched on it, Paul's just said the team's set up with a decent, strong defence. Obviously, Tarkowski's injured, isn't he, or was he injured? And then who do we have on the other end? Sorry, on the fullback position. And but we need to sort out the attacking aspect where players know where the net is. We've failed over the last few seasons now. Yeah.
Yeah. I think on that note, Yann.
What?
On that bombshell. We're gonna call
What?
it a day.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I thought you were thinking that I thought you were about to tell me that there was news coming through that Branthwaite's leaving.
Probably that'll probably be tomorrow's fucking bad news. United signing for £12 million now because the fair character. I mean, that's not going to happen, but you know what I'm saying. This is fucking everything, though, innit? Anything can fucking happen. So
Nil satis, no optimism.
Yeah, pretty much. It's same old with Everton for the past like 4 years, isn't it? I'm really in the first game, only after the first game. Right, let's call it.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. We will
Yeah.
be doing more coverage, pre, post, probably even during, with our preseason chocker with games against Salford. It's the right back spectacular, isn't it? Neville and
That's the
Coleman.
92.
Did we have a right back from Coventry in the seventh? Mickey? No, never mind. Can't remember.
No.
I'm not old enough to remember.
What are you trying to say?
I don't know,
Cheeky
because of our
bastard.
friendly. Wow.
Fucking wow, yeah, absolutely am. No, I'm going to Preston, so Preston away, so I can't wait.
Whereas I am, after that performance, going depressed.
that was bad, yeah, and that was shocking. You deserve the sack for that.